It's now time for the Straw Hats to go head-to-head with the top brass of the world government to protect the home of the giants. Will this land of warriors and our crew be enough to overwhelm these intruders, or are we still unprepared for this level of villain? Let's find out in One Piece chapter 1146.
And starting with the cover series, we get another installment following the aftermath of Yamato destroying Who's Who's hideout. And just as we predicted, Ulti and Page 1 will likely become her first vassals as she continues and finishes out her Odin-like journey.
And I don't think they're all going to be like Toby Roppo members. I'm sure there's going to be other members that join her vassals as well. So it's going to be interesting seeing who else she picks up along the way. But let's look at the title of this chapter being A Stir in the Silence.
Yeah, definitely a more cryptic title than we've been getting in recent chapters. And it's kind of ironic when you just consider all the chaos that has been unfolding. There is not silence on this island.
No, it's almost the exact opposite of it. But perhaps that's the point. Maybe he wants us to look at something so insignificant in the middle of everything going on. So let's start at the beginning in page 1, where we are face to face with one of the God's Knights. There's nothing else in between the crew and a God's Knight now.
Yeah, and they very quickly identify this is one of the perpetrators of all the things going on. They are, they know. But what really gets Gunko is not the fact that she's been found out, that she's revealed herself. It's that Colin calls her a human intruder.
Yeah, in this scene, she's seen just standing above them, actually literally talking down to them as she's trying to prostrate herself as greater than. And she takes offense that she even is seen on the same level as them.
Yeah, and she decrees to them that I'm not human, we are gods. And Usopp immediately realizes, oh, you've got the same, overconfidence and love of yourself that both Enel and the Celestial Dragons have also shown them.
Yeah, he clocks that immediately and checks that ego. And Nami's the one that logically asks, okay, what are you doing? Why are you kidnapping these children? And Colin just doesn't know when to stop standing up also and kind of butts in. He's like, yeah, these are my friends.
Yeah,
and
he's definitely too much of a loudmouth. You can't do this.
But Gunko tells him, he's like, hold your tongue. You're still talking to a God's Knight. You might not know that yet, but we're not on the same level.
Yeah, and she does kind of shut them up and then kind of just rants to them, monologues to them of everything that they're trying to do, their whole abduction plan and the logistics that they have within it.
Yeah, she's talking about the weight of this quarry was way too big, so the best option was obviously to have them move themselves. And it's damn, she has no respect for these people.
Yeah, she's oh, you're not going to be able to tell anyone.
No.
But we also do get to see, as she's talking, a quick cutaway to see that Frankie is handling business, took out the storm cloud, and Ripley's just kind of watching yeah, kill that thing.
I like also that Bonnie's just cheering him on,
an
actual
Bonnie and Lilith
kid,
are just chilling.
loving the moment. But having revealed where they plan to take the children, they identify, it's oh, you're a celestial dragon, then you're taking them to the Holy Land, Marie Joie, like you said. But Brook kind of shows a bit more experience here, and he's no, this one's different. I think they might be a God Knight, calling them by their exact title.
Yeah, which, very impressive that he would know that. Makes you wonder if maybe he's had run-ins with his old crew back in the day. But he definitely is much more in tune to their existence than the rest of the crew seems to be.
And Gunko doesn't hide it either. She's yeah, you nailed me. And then immediately starts one of her arrows towards Usopp to target him and chase him around. And he's just terrified the whole time, trying to run away from it.
Too.
He's just running away from this arrow, but luckily Nami is there and tries to step in on his behalf with Zeus at the ready.
Yeah, and it's a good idea, but they don't realize the full magnitude of her power as she just sends him flying right back at her.
Yeah, she attacks with a Thunder Shark tempo. I don't know if it's the first time we've seen something like this. We've seen a lot of tempo attacks, but uses the arrow to just flick it right back towards her and send Nami running away as well, so now she's in trouble.
Yeah, really not much you can do with that shark just flying back at her so quickly, and at first it looks like she just got cooked. And then we realize, oh, it was actually Brook. So it was a literal skeleton that we're seeing get electrocuted like that.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna tank a lightning bolt, it's probably the guy without a nervous system that can take it the best. But I also like Nami's cheeky thumbs up in the corner. It's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you.
And Gunko, again, continues. She's really getting into the evil monologue here, where she's like, the world was supposed to end, and it was supposed to end quietly, but then some people found out about it. And we see some very familiar faces with Clover and Olvia and Vegapunk. And these people put that information out into the public so that the world can't die quietly.
Yeah, and it does make sense that she would see them as insolent and be upset about it. And Usopp tries to take advantage of her, delving back into this monologue to fire a quick shot at her. And it does land. He's the first one to land, at least to some degree, a hit on a God's Night.
Yeah, it's honestly a nice moment of bravery. He was terrified by the arrow, obviously, but he takes the moment to say, I know you're a so-called god, but I don't respect that, and shoots one of his gigantic skull blasts at her, and looks like it disintegrates the top half of her body.
Dude, that was overkill. You just murdered her. Like, you chopped off half her body, and then we realized that's not how it's gonna go. It is not that easy, as she slowly just starts to form back into her body.
It is very much reminiscent of the way the Gorosei also regenerate when they were on Egghead fighting Luffy, which makes me wonder, like, if Imu actually can pass that power on to multiple people.
Which that would also make more sense of why she considers them to be gods, is they might actually have some of those godlike powers where maybe they also can't die, or at least are able to give those regenerative powers to themselves.
And even in this terrifying moment, there's the comment in the corner from Brooke talking about, man, it's really unnerving to watch the dead rise. So Oda just really feeling the ironic bag today.
Yeah. And, I mean, we didn't get the panties joke we were hoping for, but yeah, Brooke's still cracking wise.
Yeah,
as always.
It still might happen. We have to give it time. But on the next page, Gunko, honestly, a terrifying way of presenting yourself, just halfway regenerated face, saying once it starts, it cannot be stopped, which is kind of her whole gist with the arrow powers and everything else.
Yeah, and I mean, they kind of realize, like, it telegraphs itself, but there's nothing you can do. It's going to land, and it really is a pretty OP power.
No, it's incredibly broken to change just the direction of anything, too. And you see Nami desperately, like, grabbing at the arrow, trying to redirect it, but it's not like she can change anything about it. Regardless, Jinbei and Brooke also do step in to see if there's anything they can do about this situation as well and play some kind of interference.
Yeah, but before they can, she also tells them the reason that they're doing all this is to try to force the Giant's hand in taking their allegiance when everything hits the fan and the war begins. And Colin takes offense to this, says, you can't treat us like this, you can't do this to my friends, and tries to attack her, and that does not go well.
No, we mentioned it, he's a hothead, he gets a bit ahead of himself, and because of that, he's now put himself in direct danger of a God's Night. And from what you can see with Loki and Luffy on the same page, with them being fat and jolly and full of all their food, they may be recuperated, but they're not here yet.
Yeah, no, they need to get going, because she grabs him, he's tied up, very much just roped, and going up into the air, she really sends him flying. And, Jinbei and Brooke, like you said, start to begin an attack. Before they can even get it off, she just whoosh, whoosh, arrow to both of their sides and just takes them both out. One hit.
I believe it is her first named attack too. We see with Aloe Fated Arrow, almost like changing the fate of what that outcome was going to be.
And then really it doesn't even stop, because then she redirects it right to Nami and just sweet chin music kicks her into the air.
Brutal, just knocking her jaw out of place. And if that wasn't bad enough, she now turns her attention to Usopp still on the boat and delivers, honestly, one of the more brutal injuries he's had since Alabasta, and he got smacked with a bat.
Yeah, he did. I'll give it to him. He did try to get one more shot off. It didn't do anything. Like she said, once it started, it can't be stopped. And she takes them all out. All of them have just been decimated in one clean combo attack.
God, that knee to the chin's gotta hurt so bad. But now that she's pretty much taking care of business, she turns her attention to her comrades, and she's trying to reach out now. And she's like, all right, Killingham, how are things going on your end? I've kicked ass here.
Yeah, and they cut away. We see that he's at the Walrus school, and he's kind of casually talking about, like, yeah, Elbaf's kind of doesn't have the best communication. They're kind of scattered. At least they have these telediction snails, though, at all of their, like, main locations. So there's at least some form of connectivity. And we see someone yelling for Principal Kiva, and then on the next page, realize, like, Killingham just takes him out. Like, grabs him and just slams him into the ground. A full giant. Like it's nothing.
Yeah, this is a former giant warrior pirate, too. This man's no joke. He has seen some combat, and the God's Knights are making quick work of him.
Yeah, it looks like they chipped off one of his tusks, like, just decimated. And then Angie can't do anything because he's got her with his sleep paralysis. She just has to sit there and watch as her friend gets beaten to a pulp.
Which is another crazy use of his dreamlike power. This is such a wildly versatile
Very
Devil Fruit.
versatile, yeah.
But he's taking a good look over at the telediction snail, and he says, okay, so this, if it's all over, I should be able to transmit my voice to the whole island, right?
Yeah. Interestingly, he says he's never really heard of it before, but he's able to figure out, hey, Sommers, talk into it, everyone should hear you, get the message out. And I mean, Sommers tells him, like, yep, I'll get to it in a second. And then we cut to him.
Who is it looks kind of like Green Bull when he grows out Forest and his abilities as well. But just standing in this field of gigantic thorns with Saul completely bloodied up, very clearly losing this fight.
Yeah, I mean, he says it. He's like, I'm about to finish this guy off. Thought he was dead before, he's about to be.
And Saul, the only thing he can do, again, in the similar situation as before, is try and preserve Robin and Chopper by hiding them in his hair and hoping that they don't get noticed by this guy.
Yeah, telling him, like, please save the children for me. And man, poor Robin, like 20 years thinking he's dead, just reunited with him, barely get to catch up, and now you're gonna be there when he gets taken down. I mean, hopefully Chopper can help him, assuming that Sommers leaves, but like, man, she just keeps getting traumatized, dude.
Oda's too good at traumatizing Robin.
Specifically her.
But yeah, he just lifts a hand, it looks like, and there's this massive explosion, and then Saul looks like he drops.
Yeah, definitely got taken down. We'll have to wait to see just how severe it is, but then Sommers kind of does his own little monologue in here, and he's angry, realizing you've got a school, you've got a library, like, what is this scholarly stuff? You're supposed to be warriors, you're supposed to be trained killers, and then reveals something very, very interesting.
Yeah, he then directs that anger directly towards King Harald, talking about, you were supposed to make these people mercenaries for us. Isn't that right? And yet, this is what has become of it, and he starts cursing on his name, that bastard.
Yeah, he messed everything up, he ruined it, and it sounds like Harald made a deal with these guys, and whether he reneged on it or it just fell through, he had a change of heart, we don't know. But very clearly, his relationship and just overall past is not necessarily just the great leader that all the giants think that he was.
No, and even Loki alludes to that, where his death is a lot more complicated than just what the narrative might be, and honestly, if anyone can get in and out and pin the blame for murder on a royal to someone else,
it would be the world government.
The God's Knights could pull that off pretty good.
Definitely.
So I think we might learn a lot more about what these God's Knights have been doing on this island pretty soon, and hopefully the heavy hitters can come to play soon.
Yeah, that's the one thing we can say for certain is we need Luffy's group. Between him, Loki, Harudin, Zoro, Sanji, there's so many big hitters. Gerd, Stanson, like they're all there just waiting. Like, the people need your help.
But you guys let us know your thoughts. Could Harald's disappointment to the world government be linked to the true cause of his death? And will Saul be able to survive what should be his second death in the story?
Yeah. And what's gonna happen to Colin? Like, is Gunko gonna just take him and move with him, or does she have something more dastardly up her sleeve?
One thing is for sure, Luffy needs to get here quickly, along with his group, if Elbaf has any hope of turning the tides against the God's Knights. But like we said, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed the discussion, and if you haven't yet, subscribe to join our growing pirate fleet for more One Piece content like this in the future. And as always, be crew.